Hey, what's up, y'all? You got Anthony. You got Derica back here, master. You got Britt over here. And we about to have a little introduction to wholesaling and how to get money in real estate. All right, so Britt recording over there. I'm gonna record over here. And I'm gonna flip this camera around. And we're gonna set this thing up. So I'm gonna put it up here, Britt, in front of the board. And I'm hoping that it's gonna be enough height up. I'll put it in the board. Yeah, put the board so that we can.
I got you.
Right. All right. You got it.
Yep.
All right. Need to zoom in or anything on it?
Go.
All right. All right. So, December is investor season, and a lot of people are probably looking at ways to get some money to go and frivolously spend it or waste it on gifts and whatnot. I'm not against Christmas and gift giving or anything like that, but I guess my mindset has now shifted towards what can we do to gift people something of value, something that's going to help create generational wealth, something that is actually going to be meaningful, and something that somebody can actually utilize to make money. So it's great if you can give somebody a gift that they can use to make more money, right? If you want to help them form an LLC, if you want to help them figure out a nice side hustle, if you want to invest in an idea, something like that. So I want to take a few minutes to kind of go over some things that you could do to make money. One of which is wholesaling, right? So in real estate investing, there's layers to this, as they say, right? There's levels to it, right? You've got, at the top, you've got lenders, right? People who lend money to investors to go flip properties, right? That's kind of like, I'm not going to say your top level, but they're up near the top. You've got fix and flippers who will go and buy a property, renovate it, and then flip it to a retail buyer, right? So fix and flippers buy properties at a wholesale price that most retail buyers, so first-time home buyers or people who buy properties off the MLS, they will actually not buy the properties that we as real estate investors buy, okay? So with that said, if you have a fix and flipper, they're gonna go and they're gonna take a blighted property, renovate it, make it nice, and make it so that the masses will want it, okay? So that you got lenders, you got fix and flippers. You go a level lower, you've got, and it's nice, the hierarchy really doesn't matter, just feel me on the levels right now, okay? You've got wholesalers, right? So fix and flippers are folks that are, what's happening?
It's saying no sound on yours. This video has no sound.
Oh, what's up with that?
Let me see first though.
That's why I was asking why you.
Okay, let's just see here.
It says you're live.
Let's see if we got,
I hear you.
you hear that? Okay, cool.
Bernadette don't hear you.
Check one, check two, keep the camera right.
I got you.
I appreciate it. All right, so, you got lenders, you got fix and flippers, you got wholesalers, right? So fix and flippers are typically very heavily involved with the process of actually renovating the property. And a lot of times they don't have the skill set or the time necessary to go find these good deals to be able to, buy at a wholesale price. So what they'll do is they'll go to wholesalers who, and wholesalers have a very unique skill set of marketing, where they can go out, they'll get the contract with, let's just say John. I go to John, I get John, I assess his property, I understand what the comps and areas are, I understand what the renovation costs are going to be, and based off of that, I come up with a formula to say, hey John, I will buy your house at X price, okay? And I have a contract between me and John saying I'm going to buy his house at, let's just say $50,000, okay? Well, I then will turn around and go to a fix and flipper. I'm going to write all this down in a sec. Like Derica, and I know Derica flipping properties all the time. Like she needs the next property to work on. So I'm going to say, hey, Derica, I got this really nice house in a really great neighborhood. The comps on it is going to be 100,000, plus. It's probably going to need $10,000 to $15,000 worth of work to it, but you're going to make a great profit on it. And I tell you what, I will give it to you for $60,000. And Derica's like, man, Anthony, you are so credible in what you do. I know this is a great property, so okay, I'll give you 60,000. So remember, John, I said I'm gonna buy his house for 50. Derica, she said she's gonna buy it for 60. So I assigned the contract I have with John to Derica, and the difference between 50,000 when I contracted it for and 60,000 when I was selling to Derica for is 10. So me as a wholesaler, I get a $10,000 fee in the middle, and I'm happy, and I'm off to find the next property to give to my buyers. Okay, and then a level below the wholesaler is what we call the property scout or bird dog, and those are the folks who are like, you know, very, very important. I have several property scouts. I'm hoping to be able to close on a property that they have given me, so that, you know, I can pay them. But basically, a property scout goes out and says, that looks like a good property. All right. You know, they haven't been trained on how to go and assess the property, how to build a rapport with the seller, you know, how to look at the renovation costs, how to market that property to buyers and whatnot. So, you know, we give them, you know, a fee or so, like a portion of the assignment fee or a portion of the fix and flip fee as we go about it, right? So those are kind of the layers. So you got your property scout, you got your wholesaler, you got your fix and flipper, and you got your lender, all right? And so this is for guys in the streets, all right? So obviously there's a lot of illicit activity going on, not judging you, you know, but if you can flip a brick, you can flip a house, okay? So just to kind of put it on the board and kind of showcase for people what that means is, let's just keep it simple and let's just say, we're not getting into the heavy stuff, we're just gonna talk about marijuana, okay? So somebody buys a pound of marijuana, all right? And let's just say they paid $800 for this, all right? So they're buying that pound at a wholesale price, all right? So now what these guys are going to do, and again, I tell all the folks out there, if you're dealing drugs, whatever the case is, I'm not judging you, I'm just saying you can make a lot more money, legit and legal, by using the same skill set and the same mindset, that you have the same intelligence, flip it over from the illegal activities over to the legal activity, and you will make a lot of money fast, right? So again, you buy this weed, it's $800, it's a wholesale price. You're then going to go and do what? You're going to chunk it down and you're going to distribute it, right? So you're going to sell it to here and there and here and here. You know, you got your blue collar, your white collar, you got your other guys, or whatever the case is, right? Long story short, at the end of the day, after you've done taking it from $800, you're going to sell, and this is for simple math, okay? Let's just say you come back and you make $1,600 on it, all right? So that means you paid $800, you got $1,600, you done doubled your money, right? You doubled down, you made $800 profit, all right? Which is phenomenal, right? So not only did you cover the cost of this, but you also made $800 profit on it, right? And real estate is really not that much different, okay? So again, the goal is to get a property in a nice neighborhood at a wholesale price, okay? So I'm going to break down Clover Lane. I'm not using real numbers, but I'm just going to break it down to show you how many different ways we could have exited this property, okay? So let's talk about Clover, all right? Let's just say, for example, that we bought this property for $50,000, okay? That's a wholesale price. Reason being is wholesale. If we bought this property, again, these are hypothetical numbers. The property was a hoarder house. It was in a very bad condition. However, it was in a very good neighborhood. It was in York Suburban School District, which is one of the top school districts, if not the top. And it's the top, yeah, okay, so it's the top in York, Pennsylvania. Okay, even though it was, I mean, the roof was bad on it, the landscaping was horrible, it was like Jumanji. You know, hoarder situation inside, fleas and ants infestation, like all this stuff, right? Foundation issues, plumbing, water penetration issues, you name it, right? House was a total turd, okay? So that's why we were able to get it at such a wholesale price, right? Because, again, most people who are looking to buy houses are what we call retail buyers. So they're going to buy a house, they're going to look at the MLS and get a real estate agent, they're going to comb through hundreds, if not thousands of real estate listings before they decide on the property, right? They want it in move-in condition. They want to be able to move their stuff in and not have to do anything else to the property, all right? Versus me, I want a house that nobody else wants. I want a house that looks like a turd, that everybody's going to drive by and just judge and look at it like it's pathetic or whatnot. That's what I want, okay? So again, with us buying the property at $50,000, we could have done multiple exit strategies on this property, right? We could have wholesaled it. We could have wholesale it, right? And what wholesale means is you buy it at a wholesale price and then immediately put it on the MLS. Do nothing else to it, maybe clean up the junk and then list it, right? So that house, if we just would have cleaned it out and gutted it, we probably easily could have sold it for $125, right? Or we could fix and flip it, right? So we could renovate it and then sell it to a retail buyer on the MLS. Or what we are actually doing is fix it and hold, then refi, right? So some people call it the BRRRR method, right? So you're buying, you're renovating it, you're going to rent it, and then refinance it. And then the last R is repeat the process and do it again, right? So just off one property, because we bought it at such a good price, we could have exited any of these ways, right? So I'm going to break it down and show you all of these different scenarios, okay? So if we were to wholesale it, okay? So I go to John again and say, John, I'll give you $50,000 for this house. And he's like, man, as bad a shape as this house is in, you're going to give me $50,000 for it? Fantastic, it's yours. Buying it as is, okay? Now, I know several buyers in the area, some of which reached out to me after I got the property under contract, and I could have literally, right, because we know the comps in that neighborhood for a property that's completely fixed up, especially one that just sold across the street, literally went for $265,000, okay? So again, we bought a property for $50,000 that potentially is worth $265,000.
It says, okay, but how do you get money to start buying?
Oh, good question.
Good question.
How do we get money to start buying properties?
Buying the house and the money to redo it to be able to sell it to make money.
So there's different. You got private lenders, which I utilize a private lender. You can also go through what's called hard money lenders, okay? Hard money lenders don't care anything about your credit. They don't care anything about the asset because they're going to lend you money based off the house.
Right.
So if you don't pay them back as you're supposed to, they're going to take the house from you, right? So that's all they care about. Really and truly, some of these guys want you to not pay it back so they can take that house, right? So, for example, in this house, let's just say hypothetically the $100,000 worth of repairs, which really and truly isn't that far off, then they will actually loan you the money, but they're going to put a first position lien on the house that basically says, here's money, as long as you pay me back, you're cool, lien's forgiven. You don't pay me back, I'm coming to take your house, I'm going to sell it to another investor, probably at least 50% of what I loaned you out for it, and lend them money to fix it. So, what's that?
No, I was gonna say, but with wholesaling, just let them know that with wholesaling, you don't need money to.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Good
You
point.
don't need the money to purchase with wholesaling.
Yeah. I don't know who asked that question, but good question. But the cool thing is with wholesaling, I could actually make money on this without using any of my own money, without using a dime. Okay.
Right.
And I'm gonna show you how I do that. Okay. So I go to John and I say, John, like I said, we're gonna buy this house for $50,000. So I write up a contract between Anthony Moore and John Scott. All right. And that contract is for $50,000. All right. So I've been through the property. I know that the floor is sunk, it's water penetration, you need new roof, new windows, you need new doors, needs to be power washed, you need an HVAC system in there, the floors need to be resurfaced, you need all new cabinets and appliances and everything in there. You know all that, right? So it's $100,000. I know that, right? So I go and I market this over to Brandon. And I say, Brandon, I got a doozy for you, brother. He's gonna be like, what you got, Ant? I'm like, yo, man, I have a property in suburban school district. It can resell for $265,000, but it does need $100,000 of rehab in it. But I tell you what, man, I will sell this property to you and leave you a ton of meat on the bone. I will sell it to you for $100,000. All right, he's gonna be like, wait a minute, man, I can buy it for $100,000, put $100,000 into it, and still end up with $65,000 profit. I'm like, absolutely, bro, that's it. And really and truly, I elevated those repair costs, so you might, if you do it efficiently, get more money out of it. He's gonna be like, yo, sign me up, I'm game. All right, cool. So now I've got a contract with John Scott for $50,000. My man Brandy said he'll buy the house for me for $100,000. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign my contract to Brandon. All right. So now this is Brandon, $100,000, and I am selling my right to Clover Lane to Brandon. Okay, and he's an experienced fix and flipper, so he don't care how much money I make as long as there's enough meat on the bone for him. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I have a contract here. I'm going to write up what's called an assignment contract. So now I am assigning my interest to this property over to Brandon, and he's going to buy it for $100,000. Okay. So my fee for going and finding this property, for going through and building the rapport with the seller, for going through and analyzing all the renovation costs and presenting him with the deal that he's going to make at least at a minimum $65,000 on, my fee for all of my research and time is $50,000. Okay, so again, contracted for $50,000 with John Scott, sold it to Brandon for $100,000, and 100 minus 50 is what? $50,000. So Anthony Moore at closing walks away with a big fat check of $50,000 without having to put any money into the deal whatsoever. Now I probably used gas to drive around, which I did. I drove around, I found that property, but I didn't have to do any marketing, I didn't do any mailers. I literally walked up, put a note on the door, the seller called me back, we talked for over the course of a year. So again, when you're talking about how much time and equity put into the house, just following up, being persistent and all that, then yeah, it's worth a $50,000 shot. And you got wholesalers across the country where $50,000 is just about average for them. Okay, so it is totally possible to go out and not use any money in your pocket and walk away with $50,000.
And just let them know too that the end buyer, Brandon, also pays when he pays the $100K. He's paying Clover Lane. He's paying John Scott for Clover Lane, and he's paying Anthony. So you don't pay.
That's right.
You don't pay John Scott anything, because the reason why you put the price at $100K is so Brandon covers the charge for Clover Lane and John Scott, and plus Anthony gets his fee.
Right.
So you gotta make that clear.
Tarika, thanks. That's a very good point, y'all. So again, when Brandon goes to closing, all right, they're going to do the settlement statement. They're going to do what's called a HUD-1 settlement statement, and on that it's going to show purchase price, $50K, assignment fee, $50K, and all the miscellaneous closing costs and all that stuff. At the end of the day, when he cuts that check, John Scott is getting $50,000, Anthony Moore is getting $50,000. Brandon's got a jewel of a property that he's going to basically make probably $75,000, because he's a savvy investor. He knows how to do things efficiently and cut costs on his renovation projects. And because I always beef up the repair number just so that my investor will have a little cushion, a contingency plan to make sure that they can make more money and maximize their profits. Okay, so that is how you wholesale a property. That's the gist of wholesaling a property, right? So all for the guys on the streets, again, all you gotta do is when you're driving around doing whatever you're doing, look for houses that look like they need a lot of TLC. Look for grass that's overgrown, windows that are boarded up. Look for homes that look like they're vacant, haven't been lived in. Figure out how to get in touch with the owner, which we'll do another video to show you how to get in touch with owners and skip traces, what it's called, and we'll teach you how to build a rapport with the seller and get it under contract. Once you get it under contract, the buyers will come. Don't worry about it. A lot of people always want to go and get a big old buyers list before they step out and start getting properties in the contract. Don't worry about it. Get the right property in the contract. You will not have a problem finding a buyer. All right. So that's number one. Okay. So number one is wholesale. We could have wholesaled this property and made $50K on it easy. Easy. Anybody would have took it. Would have been no problem whatsoever. All right. So, all right, this is John. All right, this is Clover Lane. Okay. Now, number two is wholesale. All right. So what wholesale means is I buy it flat out for cash for $50,000. Maybe I put $5,000 into clearing the property out and doing a little bit of cleanup on the exterior, and then immediately just I turn around immediately and then just sell the property, right? Just put on the MLS as a handyman special, sold as is, and hope for the best, hope a retail buyer gets it. Now, again, retail buyers, again, people who buy properties in MLS a lot of times, if they see a house as nice a structure as Clover Lane, they're going to be like, oh my God. Yeah, I could have listed it wholesale, right? So buy it wholesale, sell it retail. I probably could have listed this easily for $130, $140, because again, Zillow and some of the other comps in the area, even though the property was busted, was still saying a property value of $180,000, right? And that was if I did nothing to it. It was worth $180,000, okay? So if I just turn around and just say, okay, you know what? I will sell it for $125, all right? So let's just say I put it on the market and I put a sign in either for sale by owner, or I list it out with the agent and say this is for sale for $125. Okay, and again, all I did was put $5,000 into clearing the property out and just trimming the weeds back a little bit. All right, so I'm all in it for 55. Excuse me. I sell it for 125. I get that 125. Okay, so now that's 75 back out the five, $70,000 profit on a house that I did nothing but clear the junk out and trim the weeds back. Okay, so hotel, Chris Jefferson out of Virginia, I think he's down in Richmond, Virginia. That is a strategy I learned from him just online. That's what he does. He'll get investor money. He'll get a pool of investors, say, hey, investors, I need $100,000. He'll buy a house and then turn around and wholesale it. Basically, he'll just go in there, literally, maybe vacuum the rugs out. Maybe that's about it. Turn around, sell that property for $150. So he takes that $150, pays his investor back. He walks away with $40,000 after interest and whatnot to basically do nothing but use other people's money to buy a property and then turn around and sell it on the MLS and then gets the profit and walks away and does it all over again. So he has a pool of investors who see that and they're chomping at the bit like, yo, here's Chris, here's 50 G's, here's 70 G's, here's 100 G's. They want their money to keep flipping, right? So that's wholesale, right? So you got wholesale, you got hotel, and you got fix and flip, all right? So again, we said that this property, when it's all fixed up, could potentially sell for $265, right. All right? So let's just do a range and say, all right, it'll sell between $240 and $265, right? $240 is say, I mean, it wouldn't sell no less than $240. That's at the bottom of the barrel for this particular market that we're in right now. So again, we bought this property for $50,000. We know it's going to take $100,000 to renovate. Okay, so then we're all in. So you got $100,000 renovation costs. So now you're all in at $150. All right, you stick it on the market. It's a super hot market right now. And let's just say we get an offer. At this point, we'll probably get a bidding war on it, to be perfectly honest. So even if I listed it at $250, it'll probably go up and up because people are so thirsty and hungry for houses right now, especially in suburban school district. So let's just say we got an offer for $260. All right, and we said, fine, we'll take it. All right, well, let's do the math. All right, so you basically just made out with $110,000 profit. Now, out of this, of course, you're going to pay closing costs, transfer tax. If you list it on the market, you're going to pay real estate commissions. But even still, even back all that stuff out, you're still, at a minimum, going to walk away with $95,000. Okay? And it'll probably take you about 4 months to flip this property. So 4 months to get nearly a six-figure check, I think it's worth it. No doubt about it. All right? Now, that's wholesale, hotel, fix and flip. All right? So now, as you can see, as you go down the line, as you progress through these particular strategies,
The price go up.
right, your profit margin goes up. Now, on this, on wholesale, on hotel, on fix and flip, I get charged earned income tax. Okay, that's the highest level of tax. So you got earned income, you got portfolio income, passive income, right? They all tax at different rates, right? So with these top three strategies, I get burnt pretty bad by Uncle Sam. Okay, so even though I made this $95,000, 30+% of that will be paid in taxes at the end of the year, or if you pay quarterly, or whatever the case is, right? That's no bueno, that sucks. Which is why we're going with option number 4. And actually there's a different strategy too, I didn't put in there, the whole lease to own option, but
Lease option.
you know, there's actually another one down here that actually would go in between 3 and 4. And that's called a lease option. I'm giving all this away for free right now. If you want these advanced strategies, you know, you want some consultant one-on-one time, I'd be more than happy to go into more detail and walk you through a process like that. That is a very lucrative process and will actually minimize your tax burden. But let's get back to number 4, which is buy and hold on the buy, renovate, refinance, and buy, renovate, refinance strategy, BRRRR strategy, okay? So in this case here, we bought it for 50, we put 100 into it, so now we're into it for $150,000, all right? So that's our all-in costs. So we're going to rent this property out for $2,400 a month. All right, so we're going to get a monthly rental of $2,400 a month. All right, we're going to season this, right? So what a season is, like when you go to a bank for a refinance, you have to season the property. And what that means is the bank needs to see that you have a tenant in place, a lease in place, and they need to see that your rental income would exceed the cost of a mortgage payment. All right, and to make sure you have enough budgeted for maintenance, repairs, taxes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So let's just say we've seasoned this property, we seasoned it for 6 months to a year. Every bank has different seasoning requirements. Then we go to the bank and say, all right, I need you to refi cash me out, all right? So what they're gonna say is, okay, Anthony, this house, you did a phenomenal job. You put some high-end finishes in this project. We are going to lease this out at 75% loan to value. And what that means is, anytime you buy a house retail, you buy with a conventional loan, you're going to put 20% down, right? And then you're going to finance the other 80%. And they call that, you got an 80% loan to value, right? Meaning that you have 20% equity and 80% of that is in a loan, right? On a refi, a lot of them do 25%, they may do 80%, they may do, backwards. They'll do 75% or 80%, okay? Which means you're either gonna have 20% equity or 25% equity, all right? So in this case right here, let's just say, and I don't know these numbers in my head, so let's use a calculator, all right? So in this case here, let's just say it's 265, all right? And let's just say they only give me a 75% loan to value. 75. They're going to give me a 75% loan to value. Okay? So basically, we're going to take $265,000 times 0.75 and that equals $198,000. Okay. All right. All right. So that's 198,750.
And LTV is what?
Loan to value.
Loan to value.
All right. So remember,
That's how much the bank is charging you
no, that's how much the bank is giving me for my house.
for your house.
They're giving me 75% of the value of the house.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is what the house is valued at. This is what the bank was going to loan me money on.
Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
And the reason they do that is because they have a tangible asset now.
Yeah.
So now, right now, I own the house outright. No liens, no encumbrances, no nothing, right? Once I go and refinance and they cash me out, now the bank has first position lien on the property, okay? So it's still deeded to me, I own it, but the bank, if I don't pay them, has the authority to come and foreclose and repossess the house, all right? So that's the game you gotta play. But in this instance here, it's worth it. Because remember, they're giving us $198,750. Okay, we are in it for $150,000. All right, that's renovation $100,000 for the renovation expenses. All right, so now I'm going to get basically $48,750 of profit that just goes into my pocket after I pay all the people for the renovation expenses and after I've covered the cost of actually buying the home. And now this $48,000 right here is tax-free money. Why is it tax-free, you may ask? Because mortgage is debt. All right. So when the bank refinances and puts a lien on my house and gives me this $198,000, basically now I'm having to pay interest on that money. So from a tax perspective, you get to write off interest depreciation. But with this not being profit from the sale of a property, but being money as part of a mortgage, it cannot be taxed, right? So that's why Donald Trump does not want to show you his taxes, is because he don't pay taxes, because he's been doing this strategy, but on a bigger and international and national scale, right? So he's buying property with other people's money. He's buying property with bank money. He's fixing them up, refinancing. The bank's giving him more money, tax-free, that he's putting in his pockets, putting in his foundations, putting in his kids' pockets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they continue to play the game, right? So there's two ways. People look at it like, okay, well, now you don't own the house. You still own the house. This is the bank has a lien on it, right? But a lot of people say, you're not really doing anything. You're not profitable unless you own everything outright. That's a perspective, right? That's something that is actually true. But a lot of people build their empires and build their net worth off of the tax ramifications from refinance. All right. So I still have equity, right? So I still have $60,000 of equity in that house, right? That's 25% equity in that house. So I can actually utilize someone to pay me to pay this payment. So again, off of this $198, my payment is probably going to be $1,400 a month or something like that. Okay, well I'm charging 24. After I pay all my expenses, I'm going to have $1,000 cash flow on this particular deal. All right, I'm going to put it in my pocket. So now my tenant is paying my mortgage. They're paying down my interest. If I want to pay a little extra payment to pay on interest over time, I can do that, right? So I can own it quicker and pay less interest to the bank. But if someone else is paying my principal, interest, taxes, and insurance on it, do I really care if the bank has a lien on it or not? It really doesn't matter, okay? So again, 30+% tax, 30+% tax, 30+% tax, 0% tax. So those are the ramifications. So, hope y'all learned something tonight. Just wanted to go over and show you what the differences of real estate strategies are. I want to show you what wholesaling is, show you how you can go from illegal to legal and make a lot of money fast. My man Mike Moyer is doing it big time. Fahad starting to get into it. My man Eric Latcher just based his whole business on it, basically, and doing some flips. So there's a lot of people that are making really good money, sustained money, flipping houses, right? So that's why we got Britt up here trying to teach her how to do that. You got Tarika right here. Again, the whole goal is investor season. It's December. There's no reason why we should not all be winning. There's plenty of money out there for all of us to make and enjoy. So take this information, share this video, please. I'm going to upload it to YouTube. My YouTube tag is Anthony R. Moore 2. So feel free to go up there and check out some of our other content. Look us up on Instagram, Anthony R. Moore 2 on that as well. I forgot what my TikTok handle is, but I'm going to share that with y'all. Put it in the comments on the YouTube channel. But this will be on YouTube. Share this video with folks, please. Like it, share it, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Because we're going to be putting more content out there like this and better and more valuable action-based content that you can take this video, turn it around, go implement it, and make money. All right, sustain money for you and your family, your kids, your friends, and whatnot. So that's all I got. Britt, any questions on that? Anybody asking?
That was the only question.
All right, cool. All right, y'all. You got Anthony, you got Rika, you got Britt. We over here with the Eden Mandate LLC, restoring lives one home at a time. Y'all be good. Happy Tuesday.